What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Scythe, and today we're going to be taking a look at Freedom Planet. This game has been out for a very long time, and I actually got this game gifted to me a very long time ago, back when I was doing a Starbound series from Arcvale or Arcsword. Sorry if I don't remember his name exactly. It's been a very long time, but he was a pretty cool dude. Seemed like he really enjoyed this game. For all intents and purposes, this is Sonic, like straight up Sonic, but it's like the old Sonics, of course. It's side-scrolling and everything like that. Very fast-paced gameplay, very quick, very gratifying, and also has the option for a very cool story mode, which actually has voiceover work for the entire game. Now, before we get started, I would very much appreciate if you would hit that like button. Helps me out more than you know. Links are going to be in the description for everything, and apparently this game is also going to be coming to PS4 sometime soon. So we could just do time attack, but we're just going to start a game right here. I already have my main file, which I was just testing out. Let's just go to normal mode on file 2, and let's just go to classic instead of adventure, because in adventure, it will actually mix in the story elements, and classic will actually just show us the gameplay and just let us play the levels. Now, the other thing, too, that's pretty cool is they have two different choices of characters. Lilac, which is the character we're definitely going to play, and Carol. So Carol is kind of supposed to be, I guess, like Tails from Sonic, but not necessarily the same. Like, she kind of wall climbs and stuff like that. Generally speaking, I find her playstyle a lot harder, and Lilac is just straight up Sonic. Like, we're super duper speed. Like, see what I mean? It's just Sonic. But it's really cool that there's kind of a more modern twist on the game, and kind of a game like this, you know? Like, he wanted me to play this one a very long time ago, and I just never really had the time to do it, so I wanted to do it today and just kind of show you all. And we'll probably end up playing at least to the first boss, just because of the way that this game plays. Is really neat. That's the other thing, too, about this character that I like over the Tiger character, I guess, is the fact that we kind of have a bit of a double jump. And you can kind of see in the top left, the leaves actually represent our health bar. While the little meter that kind of charges over time represents our charge move, like this, the Sonic roll, where we end up, where we end up being able to go at super speed and blast through everything. And I'm guessing that we ended up just picking up like some type of a star ability that just makes us invincible by the looks of things. And the thing that's really good about this game is its production hits on every level, you know, like it's got fantastic music while also being very stylish, very responsive, and also the cutscenes hit very well too, you know. It's a really neat story about how the king is being overthrown by some big bad guy who's kind of like controlling the prince, so that he can end up kind of taking over the kingdom for himself, and it's just good, you know. The one thing that I would say about this game, though, is that the only thing that I noticed, the only criticism that I do have, is the fact that some of the characters, when they're doing their voiceover work, some of the characters are actually a little bit quieter than others. So I don't know whether or not that's going to be ironed out when this comes to PS4, or whether or not the graphics are going to change to PS4. Maybe it's just going to be the exact same game. I don't know, but you know what? That would be perfectly fine, because the game itself is great. Like, it really is, you know. The late game, just because of what I remember from Arc telling me, is that there's lots of boss fights, and you know, you can kind of like, I don't know if you necessarily level up your character or anything like that, so no promises on that one, but the fact of the matter is that it just ends up delivering very well with, like, it's got a little bit of Mischief Makers thrown in, it's got a little bit of Mystical Ninja thrown in, you know, and it's got a little bit of just basic platforming like Mario thrown in, you know. Most of all, of course, it's just like Sonic, sure, but it's got so many of these old retro games that it just does so well, you know. And of course, I'm getting my butt kicked by hitting all these enemies here, but oh well, that's cool. At least we ended up gaining some extra health right there. The red leaves, of course, are our health, and the blue ones are kind of just like the Sonic rings and stuff like that. And now we got to our first boss, which this guy's pretty cool. He's kind of like a snack. Get it? Because memes. Oh my goodness, no! I want to be able to damage his ability. There we go. And then we just hit him once, and then he already gets out of here because he ends up kind of being a little bit of a returning boss. But that's the thing. The bosses, they're the aspect that really remind me of Mischief Makers. So that was a game that was way, way back. It's really, really old by now. So I'm sure that most of you probably don't even know about it, but either way, it was a great game a million years ago. Very, very weird, very niche, kind of just came out of nowhere and ended up kind of disappearing too, which was unfortunate because the game was really, really good, but very, very hard. And the only reason I'm even still talking about that game, even though we're playing this one, is just because of the similarities that this one has. Like, I've seen some of the late game boss fights, man, and they're insane in this game. Like, they are so intense. There's also a scene coming up that we'll end up getting to hopefully shortly. Whoop! Scene coming up that we'll hopefully end up getting to shortly, where we kind of do an Indiana Jones thing and kind of have like a boulder following us, which is really, really cool as well. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be a lot more challenging than it actually is, but what I ended up doing for the boulder is I just jumped over it and it seemed like we were just fine. Now, they're also trying to teach us the different jumping mechanics and stuff like that. It's kind of like a tutorial through action, right? And there's that returning boss that I was kind of talking about. The water as well, which is something that I love over the Sonic game, like seriously, is the fact that we don't end up like, we do have oxygen and can of course end up drowning slowly. But the fact of the matter is that we can swim. So it's not that much of a problem, you know? Because otherwise, for anybody that doesn't know, like in the really old Sonic games, one of the big problems with it, get wrecked, was, or not big problems, one of the most difficult levels, I'll say, Magikarp, was the underwater level because you were pretty much on a time limit and, I mean, most kids back in the day could never get through that part, you know, like you were really lucky if you did. And I never really played or grew up with any of the Sonic games. Like, I personally never really liked them when I was younger because they were too hard for me. But here's that boulder that I was talking about. So I'm gonna see, let's see if we can Indiana Jones it and stay in front of the boulder the entire time. Nope, doesn't look like we can. We kind of lose a bit of our momentum, at least on that last part right there. Now we seem to be doing just fine. And of course, if we ended up just jumping over the rock, it would end up like, it would kind of respawn a new rock that would show up. But hey, whatever, that's okay. So now we're actually at the boss fight with the worm again. And it's a very similar battle. Very, very similar, in fact. Except for the fact that he kind of goes up and does like his whole, you know, rock slide type of move thing, right? And I guess another thing that I would say this game really reminds me of is Mega Man, like the old Mega Man X or something like that, you know? Now, even though it didn't look like it, we were actually damaging him while he was doing his roll attack, which of course we are, I guess, supposed to actually dodge, but that's okay, we don't really need to, because now we destroy his face! And now, normally, we would get the cutscene because we just completed the stage, that kind of introduces a new character, and it's kind of like your two characters are traveling to the kingdom, meeting people along the way, very much like the Sonic games now, except for the fact that it's cool and not broken. But either way, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Links are in the description for everything. A bit late, but better late than never for a game like this, right? And the fact that it's coming on PS4 is pretty cool nonetheless. Sayonara and stay epic, everybody.